Alright, welcome back to the Shardbreaker podcast. This is episode 5 of Mistborn, the Hero of Ages. We did chapters 30 through 36 this week. And I am Midnight, and I am here with Darkness.
Hello.
And Mythic.
Hola.
So yeah, let's get into it. I think we had some pretty good...
Hola, by the way, is hello if you didn't know Midnight.
We have a Spanish speaker here.
I do know that. Thank you. Anyway, I think we had some pretty good epigraphs and stuff this episode.
Yep,
We
a lot
did?
of lore. A lot of lore
I
drops.
skipped them.
Mhm.
I'm sure you did, Darkness. Anyways, so Chapter 30's epigraph is, originally, men assumed that Rashek's persecution of the Terrace religion came from hatred. Yet now that we know that Rashek was himself a Terraceman, his destruction of that religion seems odd. I suspect it had something to do with the prophecies about the Hero of Ages. Rashek knew that preservation's power would eventually return to the Well of Ascension. If the Terrace religion had been allowed to survive, then perhaps someday a person would find their way to the Well and take up the power, then use it to defeat Rashek and overthrow his empire. So he obscured knowledge of the hero and what he was supposed to do, hoping to keep the secret of the Well to himself. So what do you think about this potential reasoning for why Rashek got rid of the Terrace religion?
I mean, we kind of
Sounds like bullshit.
figured it would be like that.
Sounds like bullshit. I mean,
Really?
not really. No.
I was gonna say it sounds like accurate as fuck.
Yeah,
that's
like,
literally what I said before.
yeah, it's literally what we've been talking about. The fact that he thinks he's doing the right thing. I mean, but every bad guy thinks the same thing. So
It makes me wonder what the prophecy actually is. Like, if it actually, you know what I mean?
the prophecy.
Like, is there a prophecy before the prophecy that ruined,
Before
adjusted
the
or
prophecy
whatever?
of prophecies of prophecies.
Is it deriving from like the Terraceman religion or whatever that we don't know about?
So the origin of the Hero of Ages and everything is from the Terrace religion, as far as we're aware. We just don't know how much of that was potentially corrupted even in the past by Ruin.
Yeah.
So we start this chapter with Elend's point of view as he tells Ham and Set about him and Vin going to the ball in Fadrex. He's surprised that Ham and Set have no objections, as he notes that he's putting himself in danger of capture, showing off that he is a Mistborn, and he'll be putting both their Mistborn in the same place. Ham replies that it's a similar situation to when Elend went to his father's camp, however, he's both a Mistborn now and has greater political power now. Set replies that he thinks Yeoman will leave the moment they arrive. Elend, however, says that Yeoman is trying to pretend that everything is normal, and so he'll think that Elend and Vin are coming to meet him on his terms instead of showing up in secret to his palace. They then get into a discussion about whether a king needs to please people, which ends in Set saying that he doesn't like how everything is a logic puzzle to Ham.
Mm-hmm.
Elend is happy Ham seems more himself and wonders if the reason Ham hadn't seemed like himself was because no one was around to complain about his logic puzzles like Breeze usually does. Set then asks if he's in charge if Elend dies, and Elend replies that Vin would be in charge. However, if somehow both he and Vin die, then Set can be in charge of the army until he can tell Sazed that he is emperor. Ham thinks Demo should get that position instead, but Elend replies that Set has more experience and he's a better man than he shows himself to be. What did you say?
Sazed be a good emperor.
Yeah, you want Sazed to be emperor?
I want Sazed to be a god, so yes.
So do you think it's smart to have Set in charge if something happens to both Vin and Elend, or do you agree with Ham that Demo should be in charge?
I mean, what we find out about Demo later? No, I don't think Demo should be in charge.
Demo doesn't think highly enough of himself.
Nah.
I don't think I would want Demo as my leader either.
I mean, I don't want either one of them as my leader, so.
Well, technically, Set's only supposed to be in charge until they can tell Sazed that he's in charge. Set wouldn't actually be in charge.
It's okay. I mean, I want Sazed to be in charge anyways. Sazed seems to have a better head on his shoulders.
Mhm.
I mean, he's a little depressed at the moment, but, you know.
He has a nice
Who
talk with
wouldn't be
Spook
after-
later.
Yeah, but he's a little depressed, but who wouldn't be after, you know, you just lost the love of your life? So.
Yeah, he's been struggling.
Hmm.
So Vin then comes out in a black gown with silver trim. Elend is rendered speechless, and Vin says that she had forgotten how much of a pain gowns and makeup are to put on. Elend then jokes that he's paying the maids too much if they're wearing gowns like that, and then asks how it was made as he knows they didn't have the materials for it. Min just says that Mistborn work in mysterious ways, which Elend replies that he is also a Mistborn.
Yeah.
Elend and Vin,
Still, they work in mysterious ways.
apparently, he's just like, I don't understand. Ellen and Vin then leave, and Ellen hears Ham asking Set about how he can't leave without someone carrying him, and then begins speaking about some philosophical puzzles. I enjoyed that. It's just like, oh, you're stuck here with me, are you? So we switch to Vin's point of view as she thinks about how hard it is to jump around with a gown on. It creates drag and also makes a lot of noise. They jump over the rocky formations around the city and onto a rooftop, Vin landing much more gracefully than Ellen. Ellen then states that Vin paid someone in the city to make the dress for her, which she agrees with, and then they jump over to the keep, stained glass windows creating colorful light around the area, and land in the middle of the carpeted steps. The men ushering nobles into the party freeze as they see Vin and Ellen, who walk up to the front door, and Ellen pushes away a guard who tries to block their path. They make their way quickly through the entrance, hearing nobles whisper and ask who they are, before Ellen gives a name card to the servant at the entrance to the main ballroom. The servant pales as he reads the card, and Ellen gives the man a nod, which encourages the servant to announce Ellen and Vin to the ballroom in a loud, clear voice. The ballroom grows silent, and Vin glances around, knowing that the ballroom isn't overly tall like most in Luthadel, and has the majority of the stained glass as wall partitions within the room for people to admire. There was also small, intricate details in the stonework, and the room was made with white marble and had white marble pillars between the stained glass partitions. Vin then notes the nobility wearing various metal jewelry, and the men were in dark suits and the women in colorful gowns. So what did you think of Vin and Ellen's entrance?
I'm like, they a bunch of badasses. And they know it.
Yep.
Also, did you have any thoughts about the description of the ballroom?
I was expecting them to go into detail. I was expecting more like the stained glass stories that we would see in what was it, the first book?
Yeah, the very first book where it was like talking about the deepness and shit.
Yeah.
Especially in this city of all places, yeah.
Yeah, it seems they're probably just the same sort of stained glass windows. They didn't go into any detail about anything special about any of them.
Yeah, it's probably because Vin's not going to smash through them, so.
So Vin then notes that they should leave the doorway before the guards arrive, so they head further into the room and eventually spot Yeoman. Vin notes that Yeoman seems young, close to Ellen's age, and has the signature bald head and eye tattoos of a high-ranking obligator. Yeoman stands, looking dumbfounded, but waves away the guards that begin to enter the room. He then sits back down, but does not continue eating. So were you surprised that Yeoman allowed them to stay?
Well, I mean,
how are you going to turn two Mistborns away? Like, what?
Yeah, fair.
They'd slaughter your whole fucking shit.
Yeah.
Especially these two Mistborns specifically.
So Ellen and Vin then agree to mingle a bit before going to speak to Yeoman, so Vin makes her way to a table where she believes the most influential noblewoman is. The noblewomen at the table grow pale when they see Vin approaching, but the main woman stays aloof. Vin sits down directly across from her and then immediately speaks to one of the younger women. She tells her that the main woman is planning to betray them and leave the city without them. Vin says that they ally with her, they'll be protected.
I love it. It's so funny.
The main woman then asks if she had invited Vin to sit there, which Vin replies that she hadn't. The woman then says that Vin is spreading lies and doesn't know her plans, but Vin replies that the woman should realize that she wouldn't allow herself to be caught in Fadrex with no escape plan. She then learns the family name of the woman and realizes she is related to the Alariels and mentions how she killed their Mistborn. Vin then calls the woman's schemes inconsequential and that she is here to warn people. Lady Patterson pales and says if they could have taken the city that easily, they would have done it already. But Vin replies that Ellen is a man of honor and wanted to speak to Yeoman first. Lady Patterson tries to give her opinion, but Vin cuts her off, saying she doesn't care, that she is only here to give a warning, and then uses a powerful soothing on the table before leaving. After a moment, the women, excluding Lady Patterson, rush from the table and ask Vin if they can introduce her to other people, which Vin agrees to. So what do you think of Vin's encounter with Lady Patterson?
It reminded me a lot of the other woman that she was like, she was like a soother, yeah, the soother.
Well, she was actually a lot of her. She was pretending to be a soother, yeah.
Yeah. But that woman, she reminded me a lot of her, and I was like, this is like Vin getting back at that woman.
I was expecting her to go into detail as to like how she defeated her and all that shit.
Probably too gruesome for the noble ball.
Exactly. It would have worked out fine.
I think it might have been going too far. She was trying to play it in a way where she wasn't being. I think she was being like very in charge, but she's not gonna be too like.
Oh yeah, definitely. Especially after telling them that they're gonna fucking kill everyone if they don't fucking side with them.
Yeah, pretty much. They were like, yeah. So if you don't come with us, we're just gonna kill you. So.
I mean, I feel like it's different to say like, oh, we're gonna come kill you, than being like, oh yeah, I did this, and this to your cousin. This is
so
how
you're
she
telling me it's
died.
better to threaten them to
Yeah.
kill them than to explain why it's a bad idea to go against them.
I mean, they know she killed the Lord Ruler. I don't think you have to explain.
Yeah, but the dude
You-
has been saying
I
it's
mean,
been a lie, no?
yeah. I was
Just
gonna
because
say,
So,
he's
like,
been
I
saying that, do they believe that really though? They have their nobles.
I,
They have their own
I
spies
mean,
in other places.
they believe a lot of things.
to be
Because
fair,
they're
they're
noble.
also believing in Kelsier's words
Yep.
incorrectly. So
Wait, is that this city or the other city?
That's the other
I
city.
think it's the city.
That's the other city.
That's the
Oh,
one
you're
Spook's in.
right.
This city is run by the guy who wants the
The
Lord
Obleader.
Ruler's shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
He wants the Lord Ruler's shit that was before. Or the other one is the vice versa of that. It's Kelsey.
But I mean, like, either way, if people can do that, like, come on.
Power talks. So.
So that was the end of chapter 30. Then we get chapter 31's epigraph, which is Rashek wore both black and white. I think he wanted to show that he was a duality, preservation and ruin. This, of course, was a lie. After all, he had only touched one of the powers, and only in a very small way at that. So I think we've kind of talked about this, about how the well is. I think you guys had theorized like the well was only one power, and there's going to be a second well. So we kind of get confirmation
that he only touched one of them. Yeah.
Yeah. So do you think the other well does something different, like the way that the power kind of that he got? Do you think it's different in any way, or do you think because both of them seem to be gods that they'd be pretty much the same type of like abilities in being able to like change the world?
I see it differently than what I think you guys see it, and I know it might be wrong, but it's just how I see it. It sounds to me like he was tapping into more of like ruins power than what preservation stands for. And the only reason I think of that is because of the next epigraph.
So we can get into that in the next epigraph. But yeah, it doesn't specify which power he touched here. It just specifies that he touched one of them.
I think it's. I don't know. It's because I don't know, bro. Why would You know what? Whatever. I'll just get into it in the next
Yeah, we can get into the next epigraph. Did you have any thoughts, Mythic, about this epigraph?
I kind of agree with Darkness, but
I
agree with Darkness. It seems a lot more like Preservation's power was being tapped into originally, and then he kind of went down a path of what Ruin did.
Well, he only touched one power, so if he couldn't.
Well, yeah, I'm not saying he touched Ruin's power. I'm saying that he got Preservation's power, which, if we're basing it on like what you said before, it's like kind of almost knowledge base. He gets like all of the knowledge from previous successors or whatever, and so he got that, and then he tapped into using like the same methods that Ruin uses, where he was the hemalurgy and all of that. So knowing the information, he ended up still doing pretty much Ruin's bidding in one way or another. But I mean, that's only based on if he's actually the one making the whatever the fuck they're called, the Steel Inquisitors.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't like Ruin making them, but
I think the previous epigraphs did confirm that he's the one who made the Conjure the Koloss and the Inquisitors.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
So we move to Say's point of view for this chapter as he speaks to Breeze about how the river must have been widened over time to eventually flow into this cavern instead of the canals. They have spent the last 3 days moving their troops into this cavern and setting up some furnished rooms in the ministry building for anyone looking in, so it wasn't obvious that there was more to this place than the citizen knew. Sayce continues to explain that the river is an underground river that is filtered through rocks to get rid of dirt and ash, which makes it one of the few sources of pure water in the Empire. This allows the cavern to support a population during a disaster. Spook mentions that the Lord Ruler was looking to the future, and Sayce thinks about how Spook had not answered any questions about his eye bandages, although Sayce believes it has to do with him burning tin. Alrian then says the war doesn't matter, the lunatic in charge of the city does, and all of them look at Sayce, and he thinks that he is, unfortunately, in charge.
Unfortunately.
Yes.
I'm unfortunately in charge.
Yeah, he's like, I am unfortunately in charge. So what do you think about how the cavern was specifically made to store pure filtered water that wasn't contaminated with ash?
Getting ready for the fact that their fucking bodies are reverting.
Getting ready for the apocalypse.
Because think about it, right?
Mm-hmm. Go on.
Even the food,
cook,
like, is gonna be pure. Like the ones that they were like they had in the storage. It's gonna be like it's gonna have like no sort of fucking ash, right? And the water too. So like I mean like it makes sense if their like biology is changing like back to how it used to be. I'm just wondering if like what is the reason? Like is it just like the generations that pass, or is it because the Lord Ruler himself died?
Maybe, yeah. I mean,
Or
on
is it
top
Ruin that's fucking like all the stuff up that he did?
on that idea, like, I mean, obviously, if the Lord Ruler dies, maybe all the things that he did start slowly going back to what they were.
Yeah.
I could see that being a thing.
Any other thoughts about this epigraph? Or about the filtered water? Sorry, not the epigraph.
A little bit about filtered water.
So Sage agrees that they need to figure out new options since the citizen has refused to meet with them. Spook suggests assassins, but the group says it's different to kill the Lord Ruler because unlike the Lord Ruler, the citizen is replaceable. Reese says they need to undermine the citizen and prove that his entire system is faulty, and that this is the only way to take the citizen down short of marching in an army. Jorian's like, well, we don't have that.
Yeah. Oh. Wonder where that is.
It's busy marching on a different city.
Mm-hmm.
So Sage, however, says he thinks that that in time they might be able to work with the citizen, which Spook disagrees with. Saison says that based on what they had seen and heard of Kelsier, technically the society is living closer to his ideals than they are, and that they can't fault them for trying to live this way. Breeze, however, says that they chose to support Elend and they need to get the supplies for him and for the greater good, which Alrian nods along with. Sage thinks that
She's been seeming to do a lot of agreeing with Breeze.
Well, she seems in general to, want to do the better thing, because, like, her whole thing in this last book with her dad was, like, we should help the people in Luthadel because they're doing the right thing.
I was only saying that because you don't like this woman, so...
I don't. I can admit she does have... I'm not saying she's fully evil, I'm just saying I don't like her. She's not evil or anything, though.
Why would you not like her, though?
I hate her. Just do.
Why do you hate her? Like, that's a big word.
I hate her.
Oh my god, so she must
not even that bad. Like she actually like
she really must do something real bad for her to hate her.
Say says thinks that Spook is right, that Kelsier would not have liked what the citizen was doing, though. Breeze says he wants to check how close the people are to rebellion, how the criminal world here is doing, and just feel things out before they move forward with anything. Spook again insists that they should just kill the citizen, but again the group tells him that it won't work. Sayson says that Breeze should let him know once he feels they can move forward and the meeting ends. So do you agree with Spook that they should just kill the citizen, or do you agree with the others that he'll likely just get replaced and they won't have accomplished anything if they do that?
I think they should kill him, but I also kind of agree with the other side of the coin. There will be somebody that will replace him, so you kind of have to figure out the contingency plan there as well.
Well, I think their kind of point of view is like if we just kill him out of nowhere without like undermining his whole system,
he becomes a martyr.
Yeah,
he becomes a martyr.
Yeah, he becomes a martyr. Like we become the bad guys here.
100%.
No one's gonna want to listen to us.
Why are people thinking? I don't understand in this. Like,
yeah, why are people thinking at all? Like,
no, why are people just like considering killing as the only option?
Because it is one of the only options.
No, it's not though.
I mean,
you can literally incarcerate them though.
But you have to undermine his system to incarcerate him.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but it would be better than like just killing them, because it would show a play of better power, and like he would still be alive.
This is kind of the same idea as like, why does Batman not kill any of his fucking villains?
And it works.
No, it doesn't. They
literally go to Arkham. And doing more shit.
Go to Arkham. Yeah, they go to Arkham. They come back. They do the same
have you seen when he does kill the villains and how bad it gets?
No, he gets bad. He makes the comment numerous times that he is above killing anybody.
But he does it, and it gets bad.
No, Punisher does it, and it gets better.
Batman, have you literally not seen Batman kill a villain before?
Yes, I have. But I'm just saying, Punisher.
And it gets so fucking much worse than if he doesn't kill them.
Not always. There's different.
There was like a literally whole fucking like era of that.
There's a few comics though that change different things. Makes him a bad guy completely. There's ones that he kills the Joker and all the shit that goes on after that. There's a bunch of different like things that like what's the word? Multiverses.
There's no Batman in this city,
I know, right?
Oh wait, Vin.
Vin. I'm Batman. Steven has the cloak. But yeah, no. I mean, it's the same idea. Like if you kill him, somebody's just gonna step up and do something. But if you undermine him, of course, then there's no saying that he won't be killed by somebody else who will then still step into that role. Like, if you undermine him enough, they'll lose faith in him, and then maybe somebody else will kill him and take his place. So you're kind of still in a lose-lose situation here.
But I was thinking more about of like, if you undermine them and like take them like as a prisoner, they'll see you less of a tyrant than if you just killed whoever's in charge every time.
You can't. I don't think so. I think they're gonna still see them as a tyrant, no matter
It's
what.
because it shows a sense of mercy, which
could be weakness in comparison to most people. That most people would think it might be weakness. So.
Only if you're trying to face against them. But yeah, I'm talking about like the general public. They would feel like a less like sense of like, oh, we're like fucked. It's another one.
You mean like the other city? The Emperor has arrived. That's not saying anything. No.
No, definitely.
We're totally not like coming in here to conquer you.
They would never.
Ever.
So Sazin grabs his portfolio of religions, wanting to continue his research through them, even though he feels he should be doing other things. He also thinks a bit about how he wants to study the new sect of the Church of the Survivor here in town, but also doesn't think that studying one more religion will help him. Then goes over to the large metal plate that the Lord Ruler goes over to the large metal plate that the Lord Ruler had inscribed instructions onto. It talks about how the Lord Ruler wants to take the power from the well again to continue to keep Ruin trapped, that he worries that Ruin will somehow kill him. Casey is dead, the catches will hopefully provide some protection. The metal plate also discusses Electrum and the exact percentages for the elementic version of it. Finally, there was a map to the next cache, which is the one that they got to at the beginning of the book. Sazin turns away from the plate, noting that some of the soldiers had made camp down here, while most of them were upstairs, so the rest of the building was lived in and less suspicious. A few soldiers were
suspicious.
Oh my gosh. A few soldiers were also exploring the edges of the cavern, looking for any other secret ways out, just in case they got trapped in the cavern. Do you think the group is going to get trapped in the cavern at some point?
Somebody's going to get trapped in the cavern.
It's going to be yes, because I feel like the outside. So my theory.
You have a theory?
What's the name of the fucking part of this book again?
We're still in part 2. Part 6 doesn't start, or part 3 doesn't start until chapter 36.
Part 6.
I meant because I was thinking chapter 36.
Like, what's the name of it?
Where's the start of part 2?
It's like something with the sky or some shit, right?
Do you mean part 3 that's coming up, or part 2?
Part 3, I think.
Oh, okay, part 3 is named. Let me scroll down to my notes.
Scroll.
Scrolling forever. Oh, The Broken Skies.
Yeah, there you go.
Chapter 34, not chapter 36.
So, I feel like that's gonna be like the sky reverting back to how it was, and their like bodies are not gonna be able to handle it, and they're gonna have to like hole up in there.
Interesting, very interesting.
Well, if the sky stops being filled with ash, the planet is closer to the sun, so that's going to be an issue.
Yeah,
we're all going to burn down here.
I thought you were gonna say we're all in this together.
We're all in this together.
Oh my gosh. So Spook then comes up to Saze, taking off his cloth and spectacles while also putting out one of the nearby lanterns. Saze notes that he had also noticed Spook wearing gloves and thinks that he is likely wearing earplugs as well. Spook then mentions that he thinks Kelsier is still around, although not alive, and wonders if any of Saze's religions speak of something like that. Saze says some of them do speak of spirits that either help or
do your religions speak of this?
So some of the there are some spirits that either help or curse people, but he tells Spook that he won't preach of any religions until he's sure one or multiple may contain the truth. Spook then says it makes sense that Saze hasn't found any truth in the other religions, since Kelsier's religion is the one that's true. Saze asks how Spook can think that when he knew Kelsier. He says that believing in Kelsier has gotten the people of the city nowhere, and that he no longer wears his metal mines as the religions in them don't deserve to be taught. Spook, however, says he thought that Saze didn't wear his copper mines anymore because Tyndall didn't like religion much, and Saze feels a chill in response. Spook then says that the people of the city know more than Saze thinks, and then leaves Saze to his thoughts. So what do you think about Spook's thoughts on why Saze wasn't preaching religions anymore?
It sounds accurate.
Yeah, I was like, what do I think of whose thoughts? Because
Spook's.
Because, I mean, Spook is a god, so...
Everyone's a god to you.
Only Spook and Sazed.
And Kelsier?
No, Kelsier is a god. Like that, it's already been shown. He is speaking to Spook. He's a god.
Everyone's a god.
I mean, yeah, if you look hard enough. Yeah.
What did you think, Darkness?
About Kelsier being a god?
No. About Spook's conversation with Sazed.
About Kelsier being a god? It's just true. I mean, you know.
Yeah, it's factual.
Exactly.
I was there. I was the god. Wait.
You were Kelsier.
I was there.
He said it like how it is, bro. Like,
I think Spook definitely tapped into something like a subconscious thing that Sazed did not know. You know.
Yeah,
like,
I was gonna say I feel like Sazed like genuinely did not know, but like it's like accurately like what's happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ew! Don't do that again.
Yeah.
Both of you saying that shit at the same time.
Oh, did we?
100%.
So Sazed barely notices Spook leaving, thinking about how Tyndall and he had often found contention regarding his religions, but how she had done research with him on the Hero of Ages, possibly just to spend time near him and do something that he liked. Now he had agreed to be Ellen's ambassador to do something that she enjoyed. He's surprised that Spook was the one who made this note, and Sazed then pulls out his portfolio and begins going through his next religion. So chapter 32, we start getting our, I feel like, big info epigraphs. Well, this one's short. Chapter 32's epigraph is Allomancy, obviously, is a preservation.
Obviously.
The rational mind will see this. For in the case of Allomancy, net power is gained. It is provided by an external source, preservation's own body. So were you expecting that Allomancy was of preservation? So I think you guys might have. I thought you guys had theorized that feruchemy was of preservation.
No,
I mean, I think we did that too. But I'm pretty sure we stated that we thought that Allomancy was going to be.
I thought preservation was Allomancy, and then I know that hemalurgy was ruin, and then I questioned. I was like, if that's the respectives, I don't know what feruchemy can be.
Yeah, I think you thought feruchemy was like a third god.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
maybe that's what it was.
Yeah,
I do remember the god talk though. We have a lot of god talk around here.
And what else do you think? What else? I can't speak. What also? What also do you think about the fact that Allomancy is provided by preservation's own body?
If you could provide people with powers by simply having them swallow your body, what do you know?
Is that not what Jesus does? Isn't there the whole like body and blood of Christ
wait,
or something?
What?
He eats the bread and wine.
Your boyfriend is doing what now?
He's letting people have his what?
What?
People are cannibalizing him. Don't worry about it.
I mean, okay. So it kind of goes on the idea that I had a while back of that the bead that Ellen ate is of preservation. Like was given to him by preservation, so it would make sense if Allomancy is of preservation. It gave him Allomancy. It gave him, made him a Mistborn, but it gave him Allomancy. So, the thought would obviously be that would be like a part of him, I guess, of preservation.
Yeah.
So that would be a great explanation on why how preservation is.
Is that cheating on Vin?
Yeah, I know, right? Totally cheating on Ben.
Wow.
Can't believe you didn't see this the whole time.
I mean, is it cheating when she gave him the medal?
Yes. It's still cheating.
I never thought about how
she consented.
People with
just because they consent is still cheating. Under duress. She was definitely under duress.
She was coerced by the Mist Spirit. She didn't know what she was doing.
No, she definitely knew.
Yeah, she definitely knew.
So we go back.
Give this body to him.
So we go back to Ellen. We go back to Ellen's point of view as Teldon, one of Ellen's nobleman friends from Luthadel, approaches him. Apparently Teldon had moved here, not trusting where his family had set up due to how close it was to the Koloss. Some distant cousins of Ellen's, who he'd been talking to, move off to give him and Teldon space to talk. Teldon says that he's surprised Ellen actually rose to power, even though he had been at Ellen's coronation, as he thought he had just been a puppet. Ellen laughs and says he's been a terrible king, but he's gotten better at it. Ellen briefly glances at Vin, seeing her doing well while surrounded by a group of women. He knew she was on alert, though and that she was likely burning steel or iron to keep an eye out for any flying metal at her. Ellen was also burning iron as well as soothing the room, which was easier for him than it would be for most soothers. Talden asks if Elend is really going to attack the city, and he replies that he will if he needs to. Talden asks what happened to Elend, and he says he had become what the world needs. Talden then accuses Elend of becoming the Lord.
I feel like that's a lot like what the Lord Ruler said.
Well, Talon then accuses Elend of becoming like the Lord Ruler, and Elend refutes this, saying he had set up a parliament, and that this is the first time he's marched an army on a city, and only because Yeoman took the city from one of his allies. Talden scoffs, asking if Elend is just a figurehead then, and Elend replies that he isn't, but he would prefer to be one day. So what do you think of Elend meeting up with one of his old friends at the ball? Their conversation so far?
I mean, he speaks truth. Elend is becoming a lot like the Lord Ruler.
All I learned that Elend is
which isn't actually a bad idea.
That's all I learned, that Elend is the new Lord Ruler.
But I mean, it's not really a bad thing though. Like for them it is, but like the Lord Ruler was doing, at least in his mind, was doing what was right. So
it's not like Elend is going around having people die for him.
Yeah, exactly. It's totally not telling them to do things, and they're getting diseases and then getting depressed, and totally not at all.
Questioning
their
sexuality.
Friends turning on them. Do you see questioning their sexuality? What?
What?
Darkness. We all know you're questioning your sexuality for.
I would never.
Okay.
I'm completely straight, guys.
Sure you are, Darkness.
What do you mean, bro?
Wait, since when?
Anyways, the conversation then moves on, and Talon says that he is hurt that Elend didn't invite him to his wedding, since he had spent so much time trying to give Elend relationship advice. I don't think he knows there wasn't a wedding.
There was a wedding? When?
He says he used to think that they'd lose Elend to a library and not see him for 20 years.
Do they even have rings?
I don't know. Talon says
rings a thing?
I don't know if rings are a thing or not in this world.
I feel like that would be a really bad idea, though.
With Allomancy around? Yeah,
you'd want a metal ring.
Metal
wooden ring that's like painted.
Painted wooden ring. Interesting.
Like it should be like the silly bands.
No, you get like those tattoo rings. Because everyone's really big into tattoos.
Oh, those are cool though.
Yeah, so Talon says he did well with Vin, and Ellen replies that Talon had tried to talk him out of spending time with her previously, and Talon's like, well, well, she was acting suspicious,
You have to admit, she was acting suspicious. That's suspicious.
Oh my gosh. Ellen then excuses himself from Talden and begins making his way over to Yeoman. Ellen waits for Yeoman's servants to clear a spot at the table for him before he sits down at the opposite end. The people that were dining with Yeoman get up and leave the table. Ellen notices that the pristine crystal dinnerware and thinks about how he had to sell all of his to help feed his people. Ellen also notices that Yeoman wears a bead of atium on his forehead. Ellen thinks that this may mean Ellen thinks that this may mean that the atium is actually in the city. So do you think that this means the atium is here?
That's weird.
Suspicious.
Honestly, I don't think so.
You think it's just more of like a show of power or something?
Yeah, and generally, I feel like
atium.
I feel like it's that situation again where like it's been really the fucking hero of ages or whatever. Well, technically she did the prophecy as Rin wanted her to. So I'm assuming it's like, is atium really there? Technically it could be, but it might not be in the form you wanted to,
Ellen tells Yeoman that he needs allies and understands if Yeoman can't trust him because he marched an army to his door. He asks if there's any way that they can enter into talks, but instead of answering, Yeoman calls Elend a flagrant and garish man. He accuses Elend of thinking of this like a game, but Elend responds that he doesn't think it's a game and that he wants to save as many people as possible. Elend says that he wants to
there, I would have been like, first off, sir, politics is a game.
Can anyone get called a barbarian in this?
Yeah.
Ellen says that he wants the truth and that he can get so that he can get the information he needs and the resources, and he won't take the city from Yeoman. Yeoman asks Ellen if he knows why he doesn't like him, and Ellen jokes that it must be his charm and wit, and then says he's insufferable and was trained by a surly Mistborn or sarcastic terraceman in a group of thieves. Yeoman says that
but he was. So.
Yeah. Yeoman says he dislikes Ellen because he believes he deserves to take the city. Ellen replies that Yeoman took the city from Set, but Yeoman replies that he had a right to the city as given by the Lord Ruler. But Ellen's like, we don't believe in the Lord Ruler's right to things. We believe in the people's right to things. And then Yeoman's like, yeah, well, your people chose Penrod over you. And Ellen's
you're not wrong.
Yeah, he's well, yeah.
You're not wrong. They did choose Penrod over me, but I still now rose to power, just like you rising to power on a false god, so...
I like how his rebuttal to that, though, is like, but the system is flawed, technically.
He's just he's like, yeah, well, they were kind of like bribed, like forced into this, and to voting for Penrod, and then Yeoman's like, yeah, well, obviously your system is flawed then if people can be like bribed into not voting for who they want. But yeah, so what did you think about Yeoman believing he has a right to the city just due to affiliation with the Lord Ruler?
I don't think he has a right to anything. I don't think anybody has a right to...
He has a right to remain silent.
I don't even think he has that right. I wish they would accept... I wish they would, do so. Their talk gets nowhere. You need to show some force.
Do you have any other thoughts about their discussion?
Nah. I didn't really, it was, alright. I was more interested into, when they started discussing the lines and philosophical stuff, or,
Which is what we're about to get into.
Yeah.
So Ellen then notes that Yeoman had quoted a book that he knew and replies that he prefers a different author. They also briefly discussed how the Lord Ruler used to be a common man but touched divinity. Ellen states Vin also did this, but Yeoman doesn't believe it. Yeoman then quotes, saying quoting philosophies to each other doesn't matter and won't change the fact that he thinks of Ellen as a hypocrite. Ellen tries to offer him to be a king underneath him, but Yeoman rejects this because of the army, but Ellen replies that he wouldn't have spoken to him without the army. Ellen then brings up the storage cavern, which catches Yeoman off guard. Yeoman denies knowing of this cavern and what's in it, and states that it would be better for the people to die than be ruled by the people who destroyed their god and religion. Yeoman asks if he can expect an attack in the morning, but Ellen replies he'll wait a few months for Yeoman's people to begin starving. Before he leaves, he tells Yeoman that even if the Lord Ruler wouldn't have liked him and Vin, he still would have preferred the people to live than to die. So were you expecting Yeoman to know about the storage cavern?
I don't think what's in there is what they think it is, but I think...
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I definitely thought he would know.
That part I agree with.
that thing that's not what's supposed to, what they think is...
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I don't know, when he showed that, slight expression of, surprise or whatever, right? In my head, I was like, I don't know. I don't think he's surprised about them knowing about the place.
Mm.
I think if we went in the route we're thinking of, he'd be surprised of oh, so they don't know what's inside, because they're assuming it's ATM or whatever.
Well, I think Vin's assuming it's ATM. Ellen seems to think that's unlikely. He's just hoping it has information that's going to help them somehow.
I'm wondering where the ATM went if it's not there, though.
I think it's converted into something else. Do we have how many metals do we have? We have 15, right?
We have 16 metals. I don't know what you're talking about.
No, but known.
Known metals.
We are currently sitting at 14 metals.
Really?
I believe so. Maybe I'm missing. Maybe I'm.
Because we have the
adding one that I think. Give me a second. I'll go through all the list.
We have the 8. We have
the normal
gold,
8.
I guess. ATM.
Gold is in the normal 8.
Is it? No, it's not.
Yeah, it was.
No, it wasn't.
It wasn't?
No, the original 8 are iron, steel, tin, pewter, zinc, brass, copper,
bronze.
Iron,
steel, tin, pewter, zinc, brass, copper, bronze.
Because they consider the higher metals to be ATM and gold.
Yeah, we have aluminum, duralumin, gold, electrum.
Aluminum.
Yeah,
You also have ATM and malatium.
Yeah, aluminum makes duralumin.
No, but I'm not asking for the consistency of the metals. I'm asking for the metals, the elementic metals themselves.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Duralumin is...
Okay,
so duralumin and aluminum are different.
But
they're made from
but aluminum, I believe, was what I believe is what they put in her mouth originally that lowered ATM.
So what they did with aluminum with her in the first book is they made her burn it, and it got rid of all her stores of metal.
Yeah,
all of it. Yeah.
So and then duralumin, which strengthens it, which is the
Yeah, but I don't think aluminum counts as an elementic metal.
It is though.
It is. They talk about how one of the storage catches talk about it. Yeah, you can burn it. It is an elementic metal.
The fuck does it do? It just gets rid of your shit?
It destroys all of the Allomancer's reserves. Yeah, that's its power.
So 1, 2.
Why is it
3, 4, 5? Yeah, I have 6 more. So
what is it for?
14, right? No, is that 14? Yeah, it's 14.
Yeah, 14.
So
we're missing
aluminum, duralumin, gold, gold, electrum, atium, and malatium.
And electrum.
No, I said that. A gold, electrum, atium, malatium. 6.
Yeah.
There, plus the 8 before, so 14.
Yeah, 14.
Now, granted, I don't know if 16 is actually going to be the number anymore because atium and malatium aren't actual metals, like real-life metals. So I think there are 16 real-life metals, and atium and malatium are in some way different. They're like something that's, transcends it or some shit, like God shit. I mean, I think atium is Ruin's, like, choice, and then electrum, which is the one that gives, right? Is the one that gives
you also remember have the unnamed one that Ellen swallowed.
Yeah, okay, that's the other one that I was thinking. I thought that had a name. I don't know why.
We don't have a name for it. I know.
Yeah, but of course you do. Atium and whatever this other metal is are definitely
uranium.
It's totally uranium. But
no, it's plutonium, obviously.
Plutonium. I mean, I have a whole list of all of the other ones that I think it could be. So, but I have chromium, nicrosil, cadmium, silver are my other ones that I have. I'm hoping turn into what? Chromisil? Yeah.
So we switch to Vin's point of view as she thinks about how strange it is that she was instantly accepted by the noblewoman. She thinks about how she finally accepts that the balls and nobility are part of her, just as the streets are part of her.
I bet she accepted the balls.
Oh my God.
She belongs to the streets.
She's introduced to one of the women's nieces as she thinks about how one of the reasons she had rejected her fitting into the nobility was because of how easy it came to her instead of having to work for it.
Ellen appears. She should just learn how to swallow her pride.
Ellen then appears, asking to take Vin away to dance. However, once they get to the dance floor, Ellen pulls out a book, causing her to gape in shock and smack him in the arm, as she tells him she's trying to have a special moment with him. Ellen laughs, but puts the book...
I found that hilarious, by the way. It
was so good.
The moment, it was like... Yeah, I heard him say the audiobook. The moment I heard the audiobook say, he opens a book while dancing, and I'm like... This motherfucker.
I love it.
And then they go further with it, and he's like, "Oh yeah, this is also the first book that I read while you were in my presence." And I'm like, "This motherfucker."
Yeah. So, but yeah. So Ellen laughs, puts the book away, and tells her it's the same book he was reading the night they met, and how he'd gotten a servant to get it for him from the library here. Finn replies that it's romantic in a twisted sort of way, in a way that she's like, "Yeah, it makes your wife want to kill you."
Mm-hmm.
Which, I guess you kind of gave your thoughts already, but what do you guys think about Ellen pulling out a book to read in the middle of their first dance?
Low-key, if I were in Vin's position, I would have gotten, like, actually pissed off.
I would have laughed so hard if I was Vin. That's the best thing ever. It's very romantic that he got the first book he was ever reading while they met, too. Very cute.
You're hiding romanticism with fucking assholeness, but sure.
No, it's so cute. I love it.
I think you're a little delusional.
Oh my!
I feel like you're a little scarred.
No, if Jesus did that, I'd be like, oh my gosh, this is adorable.
I'm sure you would because you're a little scarred.
I'm not scarred. What the fuck?
I think it's from being in a relationship with a religious figure.
Yeah, right. With that
he
cult
pulls out
leader.
The Bible.
Oh no!
Anyways, Ellen then says that he thinks he messed things up with Yeoman by being too much like himself. Vin tells him that she is needed to accept that she is both a Mistborn of the streets while also being a woman of the courts.
She's Mistborn in the streets and also in the sheets.
And that he also needs to accept both sides of himself. Ellen pulls her clothes and thanks her, and they begin dancing. They dance with the grace of Allomancers, even though they hadn't danced in years, and the other nobles look at them in awe. Vin mentions that there is going to be another ball in a few weeks, and Ellen replies that it's going to be hosted by yeomen at the Canton of Resource. Vin says it'll give them an excuse to go there, as the catch is likely to be in a cavern below the building. Ellen then confirms with Vin that Yeoman knows of the storage cavern based on his response to Ellen's mention of it earlier, which I think Darkness doesn't agree with. Or at least he didn't know. Oh no, you said he did know about it, but you were thinking he was surprised they didn't know what was in it.
Oh my god.
Right. I know.
Making fun of me?
Today, Junior. Would you expect anything less of us?
Yeah, so Vin says that once they know it's in the cavern, they can decide what to do about the city from there. The two of them then make their grand exit, Ellen launching Vin up into the air and her using Allomancy to push herself all the way to the exit. And then Ellen makes his way over to her, and they make their way out of the ballroom and out of the keep. So do you think they'll be able to get into the catch during the next ball?
They might get in, but I don't know if they're gonna. I feel like they're gonna get in, but they're gonna get caught. Also, a quote for you, kind of on. We're kind of going back all the way to when Vin saved Ellen, but a hero will sacrifice you for the whole world, but villains will sacrifice the whole world just for you. Kind of makes her a villain. Not gonna lie.
But wouldn't that be the other way if she had chosen to like save Ellen from the power instead? Because she thought she was saving the world by sacrificing her.
I'm sorry. Yeah, okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, you're right. I had reverse in my head.
Yeah, I think you have that quote reversed.
No, the quote's right. Well, I had it reversed.
No, that's what I mean. Yeah, so you had the meaning reversed.
You guys need some help.
Yeah, totally.
Sorry, Darkness. Did you answer if you think they'll be able to get into the catch?
I don't know. Midnight. Did I answer?
I don't know. I got distracted by Mythic's quote.
Yeah.
I said yeah. I think they will.
Chapter 33's epigraph. Hemalurgy is a ruin. It destroys. By taking abilities from one person and giving them to another, in reduced amounts, power is actually lost. In line with Ruin's own...
That's cool.
In line with Ruin's own appointed purpose, breaking down the universe into smaller and smaller pieces, Hemalurgy gives great gifts, but at high cost. So what do you think about the fact that Hemalurgy loses power?
Cool. It's like alchemy.
It makes sense, but I was thinking like it can affect a normal person, right? Like, do they need to have like an existing like do they need to be able to use Allomancy already, whether it be like a missing or not? Or can it be just somebody who doesn't have Allomancy in general?
Well, we are going to get more Hemalurgy epigraphs, so we can talk about some
of them.
Including in this in this we get more Hemalurgy shit, so
we get
but it doesn't answer that question though.
I mean, I would feel like you stab somebody who just doesn't have Allomancy, and you probably wouldn't get anything from them.
The recipient.
Oh, I see.
Yeah,
I thought you said you were stabbing someone who had.
Yeah, no, I think I honestly feel like you probably could give somebody who doesn't have Allomancy.
Okay, so I would honestly just be stabbing people left and right.
I mean, but you would get less and less. You would get less.
Yeah, but you would still get it, and it would still build up.
I mean, I'd be stabbing Ferrochemists left and right, to be honest. I think their power's a little better.
I would get everything. The fuck you mean?
I'd be a spike monster for sure.
Has like a billion spikes.
It's okay. I'd be stabbing.
We also learned that the spikes have a specific placement and type that they have to be put. So.
Wait, what happens if you do it with a Colossus?
You don't know?
I don't know. I mean, they're dead. So they're dead. So
that's not an answer.
I don't know. They're dead. So they're just zombies.
They're not dead. They're human. It should work.
They're zombies. Remember?
I want to stab. Here's what I want to do. I want to get a really long spike, right?
Okay.
And I want to stab an Allomancer, a Conjurer, and a Colossus.
And a Ferrochemist. And
a Ferrochemist, yeah.
All at once, you mean?
Yeah, just one long spike.
How are you gonna hold a long spike in you though afterwards?
Can we break it?
I don't know if you can break it. I think you need to have the whole spike stay.
The sword broke.
That's true. The sword did break.
You're right.
No, you're right. The sword did break. Yeah, maybe you could just break it off.
Yeah, just break it right there, man. Like
maybe that's how you ascend into godhood.
I mean, I'm more concerned with the fact that like when they're stabbing them, it seems like they'd all have to be stabbed in the same place, right? So like if you stab somebody in the heart and it goes into your heart, wouldn't you both be dead?
No, because magic.
My head hurts.
Well, I assumed low key. I was thinking about it, and I don't think it's this way. Like I generally don't think it's how it works. But what if like you're not only just taking their power, but their life force too? And that's what keeps you alive. as the recipient.
This is all just madness. And you know what they say about madness? Madness is like gravity. All you need is a little push.
I don't know if that's how it works.
That's a quote from the Joker.
Yeah, but the Joker's crazy, so.
Yeah, madness. Little push.
So we get a Tensoon point of view for this chapter. As he is led from his cage to the Trustworn.
I was right.
As he is led from his cage to the Trustworn for judgment. Hundreds of Kandra with bones of steel, glass, rock, and wood watch him. He notes that as he walks in the dog body, it feels more like home than coming to the homeland had. The bones gave him strength, and he hopes that he is right that Vin is the hero of ages, otherwise he's making a big mistake. There were too many Kandra wanting to attend to fit in the Trustworn, so any Kandra younger than the 7th generation were made to wait outside, although the doors were left open so they could hear. Tensoon is led to the large metal disc in the center of the room and watches as Kanpar approaches the lectern. On either side of Tensoon are Kandra with the blessing of potency holding large mallets. So were you surprised that there didn't seem to be anyone in support of Tensoon? Because he kind of mentions that there's everyone seems pissed off at him.
Well, to be fair, when he started pushing against that one female Kandra, I guess.
Milan.
I felt like, well, he's not gonna have anyone, so.
I feel like he wants it that way, though.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah.
Well, he kind of used his conversation with her to get him the dog body. So maybe she'll be on his side again now, being like, I see what you did there.
I don't think so.
I don't know. I feel like she's gonna feel betrayed. You used me to get this dog body?
They're gonna execute her next.
Oof.
1,000 years of hunger.
That's so
good.
10 whole generations.
Yep. Kanpar asks Tensoon if he is ready to face his judgment, but Tensoon replies there will be no judgment, as he is here to give information, not be judged.
Judgment.
He looks up to the 1st generation, cutting off Kanpar as he tries to proceed, and asks them how long they will sit in their comfortable homes and pretend that the world is not ending. He says that the world will soon die, and that if they want the people of all forms to survive, they must act and be ready, as they may need to accept the resolution. Surprisingly, one of the 1st generation speaks, and tells Kanpar to proceed. Tensoon isn't awed like the others, as he has spoken to the 1st generation long in the past before they only spoke to the 2nds. Instead, he was disappointed, and he states that his faith in them was misplaced, and he shouldn't have come home. Were you expecting the 1st generation to speak? Because I know you guys had a lot of theories about whether the 1st generation was even alive, or just puppets, or whatever.
I still don't think they're alive.
I still think they're puppets. Yeah, I still think they're puppets. Not necessarily dead. I was gonna say human puppets, but
Kandra puppets.
Kandra puppets, I guess.
Do you think they're alive, but they have no power anymore, or something?
I feel like they're alive, and something has more power over them than they have over themselves, which sounds familiar, but whatever.
Do you have any other thoughts, Mythic?
I mean, aside from the fact that I still think that they're maybe not dead, but
they're Koloths.
Yeah, they're definitely being manipulated by the 2nd generation. So. I feel like it wouldn't be that hard to have somebody sit up there and pretend to be a 1st generation and just speak, Because one person speaking does not mean that, their words are the whole collective. Because they said there were multiple, so.
Yeah, it's a full generation, although I think the early generations are much smaller, they say, because they were hunted. Probably at least a dozen of them. I don't remember if they said a specific number. But
I mean, it's not one. That's
Yeah, there's more than one.
And yet only one spoke. So
Kanpar tells Tensoon that he is being sentenced to ritual imprisonment of Changar. He'll be bricked into a pit, which I'm assuming must be it might be named after one of the original Kandra who got imprisoned. That poor guy.
I don't know. What did they do? This is he states that this is something that they've never seen or something, never fathomed this would happen. And yet, so what did this other person do that got them there?
Right. But so he will be bricked into a pit with only a small hole for daily slop and left there for 10 generations, and then afterwards left to starve to death. Tensoon doesn't speak at first, so Kanpar gestures for the guards to raise their hammers. Tensoon then says he learned important things while wearing these bones. Humans aren't built for speed, but dogs are. As the hammers fall, Tensoon leaps at Kanpar, as he knows that going for the door is what is expected. As Kanpar has crystal bones, Tensoon easily is able to break them when landing on the Kandra. Kanpar screams as Tensoon then leaps off him and begins breaking the bones of the other 2nds. So what do you think about Tensoon just like fucking up the second generation?
He's a
That shit was
monster.
Loki, I was cracking up so bad. Especially when it started. I was like, how the fuck is he so fucking like heavy? And then I realized as soon as he crashed into that dude in the first one,
Mm-hmm.
I was like, yeah, that's why you don't fucking like that's why you don't use those type of materials for your bones and shit. And he says it straight up later, and I'm just
Yeah,
like,
he does.
oh,
He's like,
you
yeah, who
know,
uses those fucking brittle ass bones?
Yeah.
Like, no, right? Yeah, I thought it was funny though because like the whole time, as he's like, it's getting progressively worse for him. He starts to state, he's like, you know what? Nah, this is where you guys fucked up. You gave
yeah.
me a dog body, and now I'm gonna show you how this shit works.
Yep.
And he just starts disrespecting them.
Just
And then
wrecking them.
my favorite part of that whole disrespect was like he doesn't say it, but like he's thinking about the fact that he doesn't even have the blessing from
Yeah, the blessing of
Orzer.
potency, yeah.
Yeah, like he don't even have that. And he just beat the shit out of you guys.
Yep.
Two of you having that, you know. Like,
Well, I don't think he
damn.
fucked up the guards. I think the guards are probably 5th generation.
He got away from them though.
Well, yeah, he says. It says at one point that the guards rush to Can Parks. They don't fucking know what to do. They're like, this was unexpected. Are you okay?
Yep. But I mean, they have the blessing or whatever potency,
Yeah.
which, if I remember correctly, when I was writing it down, it's pewter. So if it's pewter, then they should have all of their stat is being up, meaning they should be able to move faster, and yet they seem to miss a dog.
Well, as I said, they rush after him first. He leaps away, and then you hear Kanpar as he's like running down the hallway, being like, "You need to chase them, you idiots," or something like that.
Well, to be fair, I think they thought
swung first.
It would be fine because there was like a group gathered there or whatever, right?
Yeah,
I thought they swung first, and he he dodged
so they swung. He leaps. They weren't expecting that.
Yeah.
But then they don't chase after him though right away.
Yeah, no, he goes after the other dude, and then they go over there to save the guy. I was kind of hoping he was going to go over there and be like, "You're mine now," and just take that man hostage.
I was thinking that he was gonna go up and like fucking start like chomping on all the first generation.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Go up there and just like shake them and be like, "Bitch, listen to me."
Why
aren't you listening?
He finds out they're dead, and he finds out they're dead, and he just like turns around to the rest of the whole procession.
Throws their
just
bodies down.
They're dead.
I was thinking more like along the lines as he's a fucking dog, he would just like tear into them and shit.
Oh yeah.
Should take their blessings.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I was thinking too. Like,
what are their
what if he just collected all the fucking things?
He'd be a god.
The god of conjure.
Yeah, I mean no, but I think he'd be the leader of them though. I still think that's gonna happen. I think he's gonna escape, and then him and Vin are gonna come back here to go to the trust.
I wonder if the blessings matter, like the fucking the location, like
where they are in their body.
Yeah.
I mean, we did get a explanation of where the ones were.
I think they're generally in their shoulders.
That's weird.
I think they say earlier that they're in like their shoulder.
That's suspicious.
He should make a crown of just like blessings
mm-hmm.
that just stick out of his head.
But yeah, so the younger Khandra began rushing out, using the chaos from living with, used to chaos from living with humans. Tensoon then rushes towards the crowd, jumping over them in a way that wasn't as impressive as when he was with Vin, as he didn't have Orisor's blessing of potency at the moment. However, he clears the Khandra and rushes through the caverns as he hears shouts to follow him. As he leaves, Tensoon silently says farewell to his home and to his honor. So were you expecting Tensoon to be escaping so quickly?
Yeah, he's a dog.
I meant like in like chapter wise. Were you expecting him to have?
Yes, I expected exactly when they went to the trial, he was going to leave.
I thought it would be like Loki in the beginning. I thought it would be like months before he escaped, but then I realized how fucking fast things are moving, and I'm just like, it's gotta happen.
He's gotta go meet. He's gotta go meet up with his mother. God damn.
Mother.
So we then have chapter 34, which is the first chapter of part 3, called The Broken Skies. And we get our epigraph, which is Feruchemy, it should be noted, is the power of balance. Of the 3 powers, only it was known to men before the conflict between preservation and ruin came to a head. In Feruchemy, power is stored up, then later drawn upon. There is no loss of energy, just a changing of the time and rate of its use. So yeah, what did you think about Feruchemy being the balance of the two?
This is where, in my head, I was like going through all the things that Mythic said about balance. And I gotta agree with the thing about like Say's absorbing like fucking ruin
both
and
of them,
preservation
and becoming
balanced
or whatever. Yeah.
Because I feel like balance is a whole fucking different like. So
Yep.
I feel like balance itself is ruin and preservation into like what they would be if they were together.
That's what I thought too. When they stated that Feruchemy was like the balance of the two, I was like, oh, so what if maybe way back when they were a part of each other?
Yeah,
They were
and then they got separated
one,
because
and they
like
got
something
separated.
happened or whatever, and they got in conflict.
Exactly, because two opposites.
So you think gods can be separated and combined?
No, I feel like
100%.
I feel like this is just their nature specifically. Like
No,
if you're if you're a god that has like a respective other and like like if you can merge in general, then yeah, you can be separated, you know? Because I feel like originally they were separate and became like together. Because I don't think they were like together in the beginning.
Have either one of you watched Steven Universe?
No. I know a
but
bit
I know
about
how
it though from memes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, because Garnet, when you first meet Garnet, she is just Garnet. You don't know anything about her really until later. You find out that she is like Ruby and Sapphire put together. Mm-hmm. They were once both two different separate entities, and they merged together. I could see that happening exactly like you said. Like they were once two gods. They merged together. They created Feruchemy, and then something split them, and then now they're combating each other for some reason.
It was Hoyd, obviously.
Hoyd split them.
I really feel like there's going to be another Hoyd cameo coming up. We didn't get enough Hoyd.
The thing is, maybe the reason they split up is this fucking war that the gods have going on or some shit.
Oh, you mean the battle royale that's coming? Yeah.
Yeah.
The battle royale.
That's what we're expecting, Midnight. That's literally it.
That's where Sanders is going with all of these. It's gonna be every one of his books are gonna battle each other out somehow.
The gods are just having a little competition about like whose champions are gonna be who, and then they're all gonna send them into like a tournament or some shit. Mm-hmm. Dragon Ball style, you know.
My vote's on Kelsier.
Kelsier can't compete. He's a god.
My vote's on Kelsier.
Actually, if your vote is on Kelsier, it would be spook great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Alright, so we start part 3 with Marsh's point of view as he walks through a small village. People who see him freeze in place.
I'm so happy we got a Marsh POV.
I know we got a Marsh POV after a while.
You know what I realized? That the last arrow's gonna be in space. Imagine that's all of them trying to attend the fucking thing.
A battle royale, yeah.
Yeah.
So the village
in this corner, Spook. In this corner, Ellen.
So this village is next to Mount Tyrion, which is close to Luthadel. Marsh and the thing controlling him feel that since Elend has left the central dominance, it's an invitation for them to come. Marsh holds back the small part of him that is still himself, waiting and biding his time in hopes of Ruin thinking he had given up. The part of him controlled by Ruin finds beauty in the hopeless looks of the people and the sight of the village stripped of wood to be burned in the fires of the past winter. The people around him finally start to flee. He walks towards a mansion, mostly ignoring the people, except for one guard who tries to stand up to him. He cuts the man down with a sharpened metal triangle that had been previously used in the Lord Ruler's ceremonies. And then he approaches the door to the mansion and knocks. When a maid opens the door, her eyes go wide and she trembles in fear. Marsh pushes another of the sharp triangles into her face and then steps over her body and into the house. So when you were first reading this chapter, what did you think Marsh's reason for being in this village was?
Oh, well, my first thought was he's fucking Magneto, but that man just straight up took metal and was just like, whoop, in your face, whoop, in your face. I was like, damn, Magneto, calm down.
He is Kelsier's brother.
Motherfucker's Magneto is what he is. Man, manipulating the fucking metal but what was the question?
Why do you think he was here originally before we found out?
I don't remember that. Honestly, I was just gonna say what actually happened. But
where was he?
He's in a little village, going up to a mansion.
Tiny little village, little big ass mansion. Yeah.
Low key, I had no idea what was happening.
Okay, fair.
I mean,
No, like I was reading it, and in my head, I could not figure out where the fuck he was.
I was just listening to it, and all I could hear was, "This man got killed with a metal object. This guy got killed with a metal object.
I feel
This
so
guy
bad
got
for
killed."
that maid. You just hear a knock at the door, open the door, and suddenly there's an inquisitor standing there and just murders you.
Oh my god! Yeah, there were a couple of them though. I was like, why would you kill them but not the other people? Like, what the fuck?
Because that's what Ruin decided to do.
I was like, what the fuck? God damn, murder everybody.
To burn in lava.
Apparently.
But so Marsh begins to wander through the house, noting that he doesn't normally notice color, but if he focuses, he can distinguish them. He kills 2 more servants before making his way up to the 2nd floor where the man owning the house was. As he enters the room, he sees the man is passed out drunk. Marsh states he came all this way just to find the man drunk. He wished to wait until the man was sober to kill him, but Ruin didn't want to wait. Marsh slams the man to the floor and shoves a bronze spike through his heart to steal his allomancy. The man had been a smoker, and so Ruin has sent him here to take the man's power into a spike. He thinks about how you get much more power from pounding the spike directly into another person than by traveling with it, and the person who gets the spike will not gain as much power. So what do you think about the fact that you get less power if you aren't spiked right away? So like it's like time-based, it seems.
Well, it makes sense. It's like
It deteriorates, so makes sense.
it's trying to take water in a bucket that has like a tiny hole.
So as Marsh leaves the mansion, he finds some ska men kneeling on the ground, begging for him to send obligators to help them as they are starving. They say they'll worship the Lord Ruler again. However, Marsh says that they've lost that opportunity, and they won't need to worry about not having food for long. He then leaves, not killing them, as Ruin wanted to do that himself. As he leaves the village, the top of the mountain explodes into dust, ash, and rock before lava comes pouring down towards the village and the lake next to it. Marsh shakes his head and thinks that the town had more to worry about than food and needs to get their priorities straight. Which, of course, they knew that a fucking volcanic eruption was gonna happen. So what do you think about these ash mounts now not just spewing ash, but lava?
The world is changing.
I was thinking like,
the world is a
what if they're finally? What if it took like 1,000 fucking years for them to start erupting? And like a fucking mythic bro in the back. If they erupt, they're gonna cool down. Right? They don't smoke that bad if they're already like erupted, right?
I don't know. Depends how much Ruin is influencing them.
Also, it makes me wonder if every time the fucking earth trembled, was it Ruin just fucking a fucking mountain up?
We don't know. You just know there's a lot of earthquakes happening and now a volcano.
Wow! Yay!
I mean, it's possible. I don't think they say anything in the book besides that there's a fuck ton of earthquakes happening. Yeah, so then we get chapter 35. It's epigraph. It's more about hemalurgy. Hemalurgy is a power about which I wish I knew far less. To Ruin, power must have an inordinately high cost. Using it must be attractive, yet must sow chaos and destruction in its very implementation. In concept, it is a very similar art, a parasitic one. Without other people to steal from, hemalurgy would be useless. So do you think that this is why there's a combined power and not just 2 separate ones? Because Ruin needs more to steal from? I don't know. I feel like I'm like looking at my question. I feel like my question's kind of stupid. I don't know.
I just genuinely did not understand it.
Yeah, right.
I don't know. I wrote it and I'm looking at it now and I'm like, I don't feel like my question makes much sense. Honestly. My question had been like, do you think that like the reason why Ruin wanted a combined power was because he wanted like more power to like steal from, or do you think it's just more your guys' theory of they were once together and that's why there's a combined power?
I think he's just searching out. He wants to be the mind of like the one body. He needs the power of preservation, but he wants basically be the ruling. Like he wants his mind to be at the front. Yeah, he wants to be dominant. That's it. Yeah, he wants to be the dominated force.
Dominant, not dominated.
Dominated force.
He wants to be dominated.
I mean, he probably does, honestly. But I mean, deep down inside, you know.
Oh my gosh.
But he wants to be the person who is in the driving force, and so he's trying to figure out how he can forge himself a new, basically, but take preservation's power.
Your answer was just as confusing as Midnight's
question. It's okay. It's okay.
You want to skip the question?
Confusion gives confusion, so you know.
So I'm assuming
Assumptions
You're
make an ass out of
asking,
you and me.
why does Ruin seek out like the other power, right? In
Sure.
simple terms. And I'm assuming it's simply because he wants the power to himself. Whether it, and I don't think it's because he wants to combine with it, like to be balanced. I think it's more of like he just wants to be the singular power.
So we have Spook's point of view for this chapter.
Yay!
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm sure Mythic say.
He wants the body, right?
He wants his body.
I think he wants his body.
He wants whose body?
His body.
Its own. He wants Marsh's body.
So if preservation was keeping him there, right?
Mhm.
Well,
What was that black smoke? I thought that was somebody's body, Loki.
So the black smoke is part of his body, but he's looking for like the rest of his body.
Well, that's what we're told.
But the black smoke is his body?
Something like that, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I thought it was preservation's body, Loki.
No.
The white, the black smoke is Ruin's body.
Yeah, and then I made the assumption that there would be white smoke somewhere would be preservation's body.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm assuming it's a lot of Ruin's power is what's holding preservation. That's what he's thinking. If preservation is the one that was holding Ruin, and the Well of Ascension was in Luthadel underneath, and that's where
So preservation had Ruin trapped in the well underneath Credit Shaw in Luthadel.
Oh, what if preservation itself is the Mist who's trying to get to Luthadel because it's like this is the center or whatever? That's where the well is. That's him trying to get his body back.
Preservation is getting his body back?
Yeah. At the same time that Ruin is trying to get his body back.
So then why is if preservation is the Mist, why is it killing people?
That's the question, though, because it sounds to me like if preservation is Allomancy, then if it's 16 metals, it's always going to do 16.
Yeah, but my point is why though? What's your theory on why preservation, if they're the Mist, why are they killing people?
Maybe they need like people who have potential to become an Allomancer and who just haven't snapped yet.
I'm pretty sure one of you theorized at one point that there was like two parts to the Mist. There was like the Mist as preservation, and then there was also the deepness that is killing people.
Yeah, I did state that, and I think that there's two different types of Mists.
It's the Mist Spirit that's preservation.
Yeah, Mist Spirit is preservation. I think so. It's why it's why it's trying to protect. It's trying to protect
and I'm so
scared
that the Mist Spirit is going to be someone that I don't like because I'm low-key crushing on the Mist Spirit.
Oh my god, Darkness.
Wait, sorry, what? I missed part of that.
Don't repeat it, Darkness, don't repeat it. She missed it.
So, you said something about someone being the Mist Spirit, and then you crushing on them.
Yep, yep.
I think I'm crushing on preservation for no reason.
Preservation's so good. Hot. Vin and Ellen
kill each other.
It's gonna be very bad, because I'm like crushing on like the weirdest fucking characters. Because I think at some point I crushed on the Lord Ruler.
I think you did.
And
100% did.
Not the Mist Spirit is kind of Anyway,
your next crush, yeah. Makes sense.
Wait, no. You know what else I wondered, and I still don't have the answer, and I probably will never have the answer, and I don't know. So you know how Ellen got shanked by the fucking Mist Spirit?
Yeah.
So.
Oh, what was that? Bane?
I was drinking.
I was drinking. Hi, Bane.
I was born in the darkness.
I was born in the darkness.
So I was like thinking, did Alendi have like a fucking like queer relationship happening or something? Because that one dude got stabbed too.
With Felt? Or not Felt, sorry, Felt is Ellen's guy.
I was thinking
sorry, Felt.
The one that was studying the lake or whatever.
Yeah, there was a guy, he wanted to go to the lake, and then he got stabbed.
Yeah, so like, who was that to him? Like,
as far as we
know,
some guy traveling with him. We do know that he had.
But like,
we do know that he had like multiple girlfriends or like over the years.
Okay, but what if he had multiple boyfriends and he's just one man who was him? You know? Because come on, it stabbed Ellen. It stabbed Ellen for Vin. Why would it stab that dude? Why?
Okay, so. What if it stabbed them because they were too close to it? Like, it doesn't have to have stabbed them because it was trying to make Alendi not take the power. It could be different. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
what if it?
Different people would need different incentives to do certain things.
Wait, but if it stabbed him in that lake.
Well, in the lake. He was going to go to the lake. And
Okay.
He got stabbed.
Midnight. Shh. Quiet. So if it stabbed them in that lake, right, and they were going to the other lake, which is the Well of Ascension, why did it not stab someone in the Well of Ascension that they're going to instead of that lake? Because if they stabbed it in that lake, Ellen got stabbed in this lake. Would that mean that that lake is this lake instead of the other lake? You know what I mean?
Well, so if you're assuming that preservation is the Mist Spirit, and it's trying to stop people from releasing Ruin,
then Ruin was in that lake.
Yeah.
The other one, yeah.
Yeah, but so they wouldn't stab potentially anyone for Rashek because Rashek knew because of Quan that the power should not be released. He had been told that to stop Alendi from doing that. So maybe he wasn't a threat because he wasn't going to release the power.
No, but I don't think you understand. Like, he got stabbed in a whole different fucking lake than what Rashek went into.
Yeah.
And Alendi, and Ellen got stabbed in that same lake that Rashek went into, right, in the Well of Ascension.
Mm-hmm.
But the other dude got stabbed in the lake, not the Well of Ascension. So why would it stop it from like being near that like Well of that lake if like that's where quote unquote preservation where I think preservation is, because if that's where he got stabbed, then is preservation the mist, right? The Mist Spirit or not? Like, is it two different ones? Like, is it Mist Spirits on Ruin side and preservation side fighting in the mist, or like what's happening? My whole brain is like, because like there's two different ones, and two different ones have different stabbings, but we know the reason for one of them and not the reason for the other. No, yes, no, you guys get what I'm going at? Or...
Yeah, I get what you're
going at. I've been contemplating here a theory real quick because we were talking about the stash of ATM, and like I don't believe it's going to be where they're at right now, but I have an idea of where it might be, because I've been thinking about this whole thing of like the Lord Ruler created Kandra, created Kolas, right? Mm-hmm. So wouldn't that also mean that he might know where like the Kandra are a lot? Like he would know that they all congregate in this area.
He possibly knew where their homeland was because he was the one who helped create new. He created the blessings to allow them to create new Kandra.
Yeah. So what if he gave it to them and they put it in like
the trust?
Yeah, in the trust. Actually, that'd be a good place to put it. Trust vault. Because then it also makes sense then why the whatever the fuck his name is, not Order, sir. What's that? Fuck, I can't ever remember this dude.
Oh my god! Why they get paid with ATM?
Yeah, they do. That's the other thing. Yeah, but that's a lot of ATM to pay them.
But that's why it's called the trust.
Yeah.
That'd be crazy, man.
It would be. But he made the comment that Vin was going to need the trust. So what if he's saying that she needs this ATM that's going to be in it?
Do they have the right to reject contracts? They do, right? Yeah, they did.
Yeah, I'm sure they could. Yeah, I'm sure they could.
Because they were like, you guys decided to give Kelsey a contract or whatever.
Yeah, and you guys decided to give that madman a fucking contract, yeah.
Yeah, I think that the seconds or something get to choose. They like receive the contracts and then they assign people to them.
Which is crazy. Shouldn't that be the first?
Right.
Well, we're the first put the seconds in charge.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Well, then the first can fuck off.
Apparently.
Like, what the fuck are they in the trial?
First I also retire, dude.
I also have another theory. Vin has been wearing that earring a lot, right?
She's wearing it all throughout the first all three books.
Yeah, but I'm saying like before it was like it. Okay, if I remember correctly, when she was fighting the Lord Ruler, he like it got ripped out of her ear at one point.
Yeah,
right?
he was strong enough that he was able to push any metals like out of her, like so much so that she felt like the metal in her stomach.
Shortly after, she then started to see the mist kind of gathering around her and all of that, though, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Or was that when she burst in the window? I can't remember that.
So she burst into the window. She goes in there, tries to fight the Lord Ruler. Marsh shows up. He like shoves them both and was like, and it rips her earring out and everything. And Marsh gets thrown against a wall. And then at some point, they're kind of like fighting, and Sace is in there, and she like draws on the mist and like.
What if the earring is what's stopping her? What if the earring is what's stopping her from being able to use the mist? What if it's like being repulsed by something? Like what if it's like the bead, like it's like Ruin put some of his power in it or something? Because she's also now getting the voices back.
That's what I was gonna say.
And all of that too, and it could be like the metal being put into somebody, like fucking all of the everything, and literally everything that is able to speak, or that Ruin's able to speak to, or that any of the gods are able to speak to. They have metal in them in some way, shape, or form. So it's a running theory. I'm gonna have to keep thinking about this.
Yeah, I think there's only 2 times that we've seen Vin without her earring, and it was that time, and when she was in the well, she had to remove all metal from her person, including her vials and everything. We move on to Spook's point of view, as he brings Breeze to a tavern along with several soldiers, all wearing simple ska outfits to blend in. Breeze comments that he isn't used to seeing ska out at night. Spook then says he's going to go to one of the poorer areas, and Breeze says maybe he should go there too, but when Breeze suggests rubbing ash into his face and clothes to blend in more, Breeze decides to stay at this tavern. As Spook leaves, Kelsier says that he never did like Breeze, and then he jumps down into one of the street slots, Pewter keeping him from breaking any bones, and heads towards the Harrows to find Dern. He heads towards Dern's home, which is apparently a carved-out cavern in the side of the Harrows, which has like this kind of like rotting wood door, but he says it's like reinforced inside. And he's got 2 guards guarding the door. The guards tell Spook to leave, but he just kicks down the door, and is a bit surprised by his own strength, as he's still getting used to the pewter. Kelsier says that Spook may need to kill them, but Spook thinks that he just needs to be fast. He quickly rushes down the hallway, getting his spectacles and cloth onto his eyes, before barging into the room where Dern was playing some chips with 3 other men. He tells the men to leave as he has business with Dern. Some men rush up behind Spook, and he crouches and grabs for his dueling cane, but Dern tells the men to leave them. So what do you think of Spook's entrance?
I've seen better. Over dramatic, He gets it from... Who would he get it from? Out of all the crew? I'd say Vin.
You get what? How badass he is?
The dramatic entrances?
Oh yeah, that's definitely Vin.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely Vin.
Just burst through the fucking windows and shit.
To be fair, I feel like Vin got it from Kelsier.
Nah, fuck that shit. Nah, definitely.
I feel like Kelsier wasn't even that, like...
Nah, he wasn't. He was flashy. He was flashy, but he wasn't looking like, I'm gonna enter with a flash. He was like, bro, I know I'm good. Look, watch this as I spin a bunch of shit in your face.
Yeah, but like, I don't think his entrances were like a big deal. Yeah.
He kind of just walked in and was like, hey guys.
And then now she can go down, But like, Vin was like straight up like, I'm killing everyone as soon as I break through this fucking window.
We smash through these giant stained glass windows.
Yep. Greatest fucking picture you've ever showed me. We're just shattering through the window.
It's a good picture. Spook accuses Dern of spreading rumors about him and also knowing who he was. Dern says it wasn't hard to figure out who he was, especially being a tin eye flaunting around a bunch of money. He also mentions Spook's eyes and how strange things happen around Kelsier. Dern also says that he was spreading the rumors as Spook was supposed to be dead, and the people love the survivor and anything related to him. Dern says that telling people that Kellyan killed one of the survivor's own crew might get the people to stop liking him. Dern then says that his smuggling business has been choked off as no one wants to buy the fancy noble things because of Kellyan. He also says that Spook's friends can have his support as he also wants to get rid of Kellyan. Spook thinks for a minute before telling Dern to send one of his men to make an offer, Breeze, letting him know which tavern he's at. He also tells Dern not to tell Breeze about him or what happened to him. So do you think Dern's going to be able to help them some way?
Yeah, probably. It probably won't be the way he thinks, but yeah, probably.
What about you,
I
Darkness?
like most of these people dead, Loki.
You want them all dead?
I want most of the new people dead simply so I don't have to remember who they are.
Wow.
Do you have a name? I don't even know.
So Spook then leaves, heading back out into the Harrows. As he walks, Kelsier tells him he needs to go after Kellyan soon, as he's getting assassins. Spook says he won't hurt part of the survivor's own crew, but Kelsier responds that Kellyan is unstable. He then hears someone coming and gets ready to fight, but Kelsier tells him he isn't in danger. The man that Dern had been playing chips with approaches him, calling him a lord and asking for help. He says that his sister, who is only 7 years old, was taken by Kellyan for having a noble father. They had been hiding, but the woman who had been looking after his sister had sold her out. Spook asks for 10 men to help him with some late-night work as payment for helping his sister, and the man eagerly agrees. So what do you think Spook's plan for these men are? What do you think he's going to do?
Murder them all.
I was thinking a little stabby stab action, but then I realized there's no point in that, and that's scary. So maybe it's like a spy network.
It makes sense, Chennai being a spy, yeah.
And then we have chapter 36,
Ooh.
which we get a lot of information about how hemalurgy works.
Mm-hmm.
So the epigraph is
Info.
in hemalurgy.
A lot of false info.
So in hemalurgy, the type of metal used in a spike is important, as is
As
the
well as the
positioning.
placement. Yep.
Yeah, as is the positioning of that spike on the body. For instance, steel spikes take physical allomantic powers, the ability to burn pewter, tin, steel, or iron, and bestow them upon the person receiving the spike. Which of these four is granted, however, depends on where the spike is placed. Spikes made from certain other metals steal ferochemical abilities. For example, all of the original Inquisitors were given a pewter spike, which, after first being pounded through the body of a ferochemist, gives the Inquisitor the ability to store up healing power, though they couldn't do so as quickly as a real ferochemist as per the law of hemalurgic decay. This obviously is where the Inquisitors got their infamous ability to recover from wounds quickly, and was also why they needed to rest so much.
Okay, so the thing that when this epigraph came up, that I was kind of screaming in my head about, it doesn't tell me why they are able to burn atium. Like, how are they able to use atium?
It's a different type of spike.
But it doesn't say that, though. That's what I'm saying. Like, it didn't tell me where that is.
It's giving an example.
I wanted to know because I wanted to know if it was the middle spike that's in their thing. That if you pull it out, it all falls apart. Because if it is, then that would make sense. Like, in my opinion, it would give me another. It gave me another idea if that was true. So, like, if it's the middle spike, my idea is that I don't know. I have this like interesting idea about the mist itself being two different types of mist, and I think that the ruin mist is like almost like atium driven. So like it's a very outlandish and weird theory, and I haven't come up with why I think this or where it came from originally. But I'm thinking because I really want atium mistings to be a thing. It would be hilarious. Because what darkness? What did you call it? You had a name for it, and I can't remember.
I think he called them seers.
Seer, yeah, okay. So a seer, like if they were all seers and they could see into like the future, it would be hilarious to see that. And I started thinking about what if like the bead can give Mistborn powers. If that bead could give that, then what if the mist can give powers as well, and it's giving them making ATM mistings? Like, and that's why it's 16 people, 16%, and all this. Like the people that get sick, and then the ones that die probably just can't handle it.
Do we have any percentages, like written down about what makes what metal?
We've had a couple examples. Like I think Electrum, they said it was 45% gold, 55% silver.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure they did malatium too.
Yeah, I think they've done.
And yeah, we definitely got Electrum in.
They did Electrum. They've done. I think they did Duralumin maybe in the second book, and I think we found they gave an example or two of maybe like pewter or something in the first book, but I don't remember.
We also got malatium. How much atium versus whatever gold? Yeah.
Yeah, we've got a few percentages. It's never the exact same though, as far as I remember, and I don't believe any of them have a 16% in them that I can think of off the top of my head.
No, but I mean, it is pretty funny though with the way that he comes up with like all the things that are just coincidences. 16 months or whatever in the thing.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
Here, 16 there. I'm like, God damn, I didn't even realize that. But yeah, no, I have this theory that the people that are getting sick are becoming mistings, ATM mistings, and then those people don't realize that because who fucking eats ATM?
I mean, they don't have any ATM currently.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, but that's what I'm saying. Even otherwise, like, who just eats ATM? It's expensive metal. Like, nobody's just gonna be like, "Ooh, let me swallow this," unless they knew beforehand. Like, it would make sense if they were like Mistborn, right? And then they're like, "Oh, we need to test this, so I'll take a shaving of ATM and I'll, boom, boom, I'll figure out if it does anything, here and there." And then they're just testing out metals, that would make sense.
It's not like other metals where there's like trace amounts sometimes in like just like water and food.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, it was just an idea that maybe it's like giving them misting powers. Even if it's not just ATM. Maybe if it's not just ATM. Maybe it's just misting powers in general, and they just aren't realizing it. But ATM just seemed to me like it would go under the radar if there was a misting. And I really just want mistings fucking with ATM. That would be hilarious.
I think it's taking it away.
You think?
Yeah, I think it's taking it away.
It's so far from what I've noticed, right? Nobody who has had like allomantic powers that went in the mist has had any problems.
That's why I said pre-snapping. Snapping? Yeah, pre-snapping.
Yeah. Pre-snapping? You think it's taking away the pre-snapping ones?
Yeah, like the ability like to potentially have misting powers or allomantic powers in general.
I gotcha. Yeah, it's sapping their allomantic powers.
Yeah.
And they don't know they have them. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Could make sense. I mean, I feel like though, I don't know. It just seems because not everybody snaps.
Yeah.
Like,
what if only 16% of the people that, that have allomantic powers snap?
Yeah, like not everybody snaps from. I mean, like it's not like that's the way that. Yeah, because I don't feel like everybody's had a terrible fucking life.
Yeah, well, you have to either have had something really traumatic happen, or basically be a noble where they try and snap all of their kids to see if they have allomancy.
And the thing is, like, you grow up. Let's say you grow up a Ska, right?
Mm-hmm.
Generally, you're more toughened up than another person who grew up in a better environment. So it would take a lot more for you to snap, because the trauma, like resistance you have, is like greater.
Yeah. Snapping seems crazy to me, like, but it's possible. I'm not gonna say you're wrong, because honestly, it makes sense. You know what I'm saying? It definitely makes sense if it was sapping their powers, and that's why they're getting sick. But as far as as far as I knew, what's his name didn't have any powers.
Demo.
Yeah.
I think that's what Darkness is saying, is like he hadn't snapped yet, so he wasn't.
So he didn't know he had powers. Yeah, I'm just saying, but like, I mean, it just didn't seem like he's gone through some shit though.
Yeah, but he has faith. It's all right.
It's true. He did get like part of his head bitten by a koloss or something.
Yeah. Like he's gone through some shit. You would think that he'd snapped already.
He didn't get beaten to within an inch of his life as
an
11-year-old.
He got bitten into. I mean, I feel like that's a little more traumatic.
But he wasn't 11. He wasn't like a
child. They have to be 11?
No, they say I think like
Kelsey wasn't 11. I'm sure.
I think it's technically just preteen. They usually say like they're old enough to not be like.
Kelsey was also. I don't think Kelsey was a preteen.
No, he wasn't.
Yeah, so.
No, I think it's just in general you can snap at any age.
Anytime.
No, you can. I was just joking about the way the nobles do it.
Yeah, because the nobles do it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But no, like I feel like Demo would have snapped at this point, before becoming sick. I'm not trying to poke holes in your theory, but I'm just giving you ideas there, right, Darkness? Like obviously, if there was something that didn't add up to my theory, because I'm sure there is, I just haven't thought about it.
I mean, yeah, I've poked holes in like your theory before, Mythic.
Yeah,
so it's just like
exactly.
you're forgetting this information that we
read
like 4 months ago.
But like the most man of faith, he knows like he's gonna be alright.
Demo isn't scared of death.
Until now.
I don't know his sound. Yeah, his faith is shaken right now.
Maybe that's when he was supposed to snap, you know?
Anyway, so for our final chapter, we have Elend's point of view. He's riding around on a horse. Set's also riding on a horse next to him in a specially made saddle. And Set says that Elend shouldn't have gone to the party, not because he was worried about Elend being in danger, because he got to know the people there and will think of them now if they need to fight. Elend thinks that he knows the theory behind a general needing to think of his enemies as numbers instead of individuals. However, he says that he was glad for his choice. Set says he knows that Elend is, but that Elend's compassion isn't the issue, but his inability to deal with his compassion. Do you agree with Set that Elend's inability to deal with his compassion is an issue?
Yep, 100%. I don't think he's going to be able to attack the city now. He sees them as people now.
What do you think, Darkness?
I think if he was able to drive his own army into the mist, he could definitely attack the city.
That's a good point, actually. I didn't think about that. That's a good point. Man who is determined to win it all.
Think about it. I'm pretty sure they had a whole discussion of getting to know his own army and being attached to them and shit right before doing that.
And I mean, he's also currently like wandering through the army, being like, I need to make sure they see me and know me as a person.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey guys, I'm the guy who told you all to go into the mist. Hi, how are you?
You see, I'm not the one responsible for your death. Kelsey is, but you know.
Oh my god.
That's essentially what he did.
I mean, it is. You're not wrong.
So Set moves on to talking about the siege. He says that the engineers have blocked off several streams leading into the city, but that they don't think they are the primary sources of water. Ellen notes that there are 6 main wells in the city. All those wells for you, Darkness. I know you love wells.
They're missing 10 more.
And Set suggests poisoning them. Ellen thinks for a moment before saying he'll have Vin do it, but he's going to have her leave a message saying that they've done what they've done at each well to try to prevent people from dying. This way, they'll go to Yeoman for water, and he'll go through his storage of water quickly. Set then asks about the surrounding villages, and Ellen says they can bully them but not kill. He wants scouts to send worried messages about the kingdom collapsing. Set says that Ellen is playing this halfway, and he'll have to make a decision eventually. Suddenly an earthquake happens, causing some tents and such to collapse. Set is brought inside one of the tents as he's almost fallen off his horse. So what do you think of Ellen doing things halfway? Do you agree that he's not committing?
In a way, all this hesitation of like just taking action and doing what he has to, but I feel like regardless he's gonna end up doing it. So
Isn't that how he's always been?
to be fair, yeah, his system is flawed, so it doesn't even matter.
Seems to do a lot of things halfway, so it just seems like he's always been that way.
So Set asks if Ellen has heard about Luthadel, to which Ellen replies that Ham had told him they hadn't received any messages from Luthadel, nor the supplies they'd asked to be sent up the canal. Set states that if they don't get resupplied, they won't be able to maintain the siege past a few months at most. Ellen can tell that Set does a lot of posturing to make up for his useless legs and being unable to be physically intimidating, and so he can tell that there's something else worrying Set, and states that Allrianne will be fine with Breeze and Sazed. Set kind of is like, I'm not worried about her, it's better she's not here. Whatever, Breeze can have her. Ham then enters the tent with Demo, who had not been up and about for several weeks. Ham says Demo was part of the last batch to be bedridden, so pretty much everyone who had got sick is up now. Set jokes that Demo is a bit weaker in constitution since it took him longer to get better. Ellen feels like he's missing something, and Ham says that some of the men feel like the people who were sick, especially ones sick longer, were being punished by Kelsier for their lack of faith. So what do you think about the soldiers thinking that these people who stayed sick are being punished?
Well, they are. After all, Kelsier is the Lord of the Mist.
I mean, that's on Ellen, so.
Right? I hate the fact that when they brought that up, Ellen was like, I did that?
Yeah, like he just forgot, Like, okay, bro. You literally told them that, like, if they'll all be fine because Kelsier is backing them, and then they obviously go in and a bunch of people get sick. Like, granted, looking from an outside perspective, he had no idea, but like, still, you told him that.
If I were Demo in that situation, I would have just punched him.
I don't know about that part, but
I don't give a fuck. I really don't give a fuck, bro.
You would punch your emperor.
A lot of the people that like, oh my god, bro. And he's like, I did that.
Yeah, I know. What? I said that? I don't remember that.
So Ellen says that the mist striking is random, although he pauses because they note the statistics
Sure
don't prove that. Changes the subject. Ham talks about, and they have like a little talk about everyone's duties, which Ham talks about the morale and training. Demo talks about supplies and camp duties, and Set discusses tactics and patrols. Ellen thinks about the siege and what needs to be done, and that he could take the city by force now, but it would cost a lot of lives. He also thinks that he should have Yeoman assassinated, but that he also struggles to do that after speaking to him. Set was right about him playing both sides, but he couldn't make a decision just yet. He hopes that the siege will make Yeoman more pliant, and that Finn will be able to get into the storage cavern. Set and Ham then leave, but Demo stays behind, telling Ellen that he feels he needs to be dismissed from his post as general. He says that only a man trusted by the survivors should be the general and lead the army. Ellen says that he's sure Kelsier trusts him, and Demo asks why he has given the sickness to him then. Demo also states that Ellen himself said the Mist were of the survivor, and that this was his will during his speech. Ellen says he didn't mean it that way, and that he meant Kelsier wanted them to suffer the setback, and not that he was targeting specific people. So what are your thoughts on Ellen's speech backfiring?
I mean, once again,
he brought it on himself.
Yeah, but he also didn't know. Like, he didn't have all the information. But sure, like he just needs to fess up for the fact his mistakes. Start telling people what the hell's actually going on. Hell, they don't even know what's going on. So I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know if he really can because he doesn't 100% know.
I mean, but he could give them more information. Be like, it's 16%.
Mm-hmm. Well, apparently, Demos says here that
they already figured it out.
Yeah. Around camp.
Yeah, they already figured it out, but still, just he made the comment about Kelsier, the Lord of the Mist,
Demoe then asks how Ellen explains the number of people that remained sick while the others recovered, which is also apparently 16%, which Ellen hadn't been told about yet. They also stayed sick exactly 16 days to the hour from when they were first struck by the mist. Demoe also claims it to be the number of months Kelsier spent in the pits of Hassan. He also claims it's how old Vin was when she became a Mistborn, but that's not technically true.
Which is weird as fuck, though.
Yeah, it's not true. That's when she discovered she was a Mistborn, but she'd been a Mistborn for probably 13 years or so at that point already, just not knowing it. So, I mean, that one's kind of off.
Well, technically not, because you can't be... That's like saying, you're really good at basketball, but you don't play basketball, so you're not, a basketball player.
So you're a basketball player this whole time.
Yeah. They're not saying she was good at being a Mistborn at 16. They said she was. It's a genetic thing, not a skill.
But you're not a Mistborn until you actually use it, though. She didn't use anything.
That's like saying...
She didn't even know she was using it.
That would be like saying Darkness wasn't Latino until he learned he was Latino.
But you do realize there's people like that, right?
But it doesn't mean they just you just become that when you learn it. You've always been that.
You see...
It's a genetic thing.
Okay, and when did you find out you were Gremlin?
Wow!
Whoa. Oh. Wait, Darkness is Latino?
No. Obviously, I'm Latina.
Oh, I thought you were Latinx.
Yeah, I was gonna say that! Just no response from Darkness.
What's the point?
Ellen sighs and asks Demoe what he thinks this all means, and Demoe reiterates that he believes it means that people who stayed sick the longest are the ones who displeased Kelsier the most, which Ellen counters with the ones that died would have been the ones that displeased Kelsier the most.
Facts.
And then Demoe's like, wow, you're right!
Yeah, Demoe's just responds that maybe there's hope for him then.
Yeah, maybe there's hope for me.
Demoe then says the reason...
I said, bruh, you're something now, alright? you lived. Just look at the bright side, not the dark side, man.
Yeah, don't look at Darkness.
Yeah, don't look at Darkness at all.
So Demoe then says the reason Kelsier may be upset with him is because he preached without being told to, and also says that if Kelsier wanted him to do that, he would have had Orisur come to him when he was pretending to be Kelsier. Ellen then tells Demoe that he doesn't have time for self-pity, and that if the mist took him, that is proof that Kelsier didn't choose people specifically. Ellen gives Demoe a small push on his emotions and tells him they need to find the real reason for the 16%. Ellen then wonders if others of extreme faith were also part of the 16% that stayed sick the longest, but before he can ask Demoe, he hears shouting. So what do you think about this 16% of the 16%? Staying sick
16
longer?
of the 16 of the 16 of the 16 of the 16? Yeah, I know, right? Crazy. All so many coincidences,
16.
Yeah, 16 medals, 16%, 16.
Oh, no thoughts behind it?
I'm tired of discussing this because it makes my head hurt.
It's a lot of 16.
I keep trying to do the math for all of it, and I'm not good at math.
My other question was, do you think specific people are targeted, or is it random?
I think people without powers are becoming powerful. So.
I think the opposite.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, either way, it is targeted in some way, shape, or form.
So you guys both think it's targeted specifically, not random? All right.
Maybe the mist is watching its calorie count,
Calorie count.
So that was our final chapter. So I just had a couple overview questions. First of all, what do you think the screaming is at Ellen's camp at the end? There.
Somebody being murdered outside.
It screams of pleasure.
What?
Ooh.
Don't worry about it, man.
Okay.
Vin's out there getting
railed
by human.
Oh, you think it's the Koloss thing's happening with them?
Yeah. Vin's out there getting railed by human for sure.
Oh, God!
No.
Why would he say that?
Mm-hmm.
Also, do you think...
Wait! I thought you meant like humans. Not humans
No.
Koloss.
Yeah,
No, I meant the Koloss.
Oh, no, that's even worse.
Mm-hmm.
God. My other question is, do you think that Tensoon will be able to find a meetup with Vin now that he's escaped?
Yeah, 100%. He's attracted to his mother. So.
What?
Excuse me?
Mm-hmm. It's like a metal. It's like metal. You know, she's a magnet and he's the metal.
That is not where I thought you were going with that after the human comment.
I mean,
yeah, me neither.
He's attracted to her that way too, but like
God.
you know.
Oh God.
That was already pretty much evident when he bit his own master.
Master.
And those are pretty much my only questions for the overview here. Did you
Wow.
guys have any other thoughts or theories that we haven't discussed?
I don't know, but I hope my theory's right. Can we get some ATM mistings? It would be hilarious.
I don't like ATM.
You don't like ATM?
Yeah.
I just find it hilarious. I just would find it hilarious because this metal that is expensive as shit, and these random people are just gonna now ingest it.
So yeah, so that is the end of this episode. Next episode, we will be doing chapters 37 to 43, so another 7 chapters.
Mm-hmm.
Lots and lots of chapters.
Wasn't there like an epigraph that was like, "Oh, ruin something," explaining ruin's powers or whatever?
No.
I swear to you, there was.
We went over all the epigraphs. All right, are you?
Oh, here we go.
Oh,
It says, in line with Ruin's own appointed purpose, breaking down the universe into smaller and smaller pieces.
oh, that one, the one about hemalurgy.
Yeah.
Yeah, we talked about that.
Uh-huh. So, in my mind, it all kind of works out in that way. So, like, hemalurgy is like Ruin's purpose, where it like slowly breaks down, you know.
It ruins
And then,
things, yeah. Mm-hmm.
like, because if you take the power, it said that it slowly, you know, goes away or whatever.
Yeah, it's slowly ruining things, yep. Mm-hmm.
And I was thinking, what if that's the power that they tapped into the well in order to, like, well, the Lord Ruler tapped into in order to, like, affect the world, where, like, each problem that he created is slowly getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And it would, if he kept going, it would have reached the point of where, like, he started using preservation's power in order to, like, completely eliminate the power, the problem.
But I mean, didn't it state that he only used one?
Yeah, he only used one power.
So he stopped before he could get to that point. That's my point. Like, he wasn't allowed to get through, like, the whole thing because he didn't have the whole power. Which, in that case, it would be balance. You know what I mean? He would have to have both powers in order to fully, like, tap into it. That's what I was thinking when they said that they only tapped into one power.
All right, shall we end the podcast here?
Yeah.
Sure.
Great. It also looks like I was glancing at the epigraphs for next chapter, and it looks like you guys are going to get some answers to some stuff you brought up this episode. So.
Yeah, hopefully we know why the Mist is killing 16 people on the 16 days. 16 this, 16
I don't
that.
know if you're going to learn that quite yet, but.
Oh, damn. I mean,
you do get to find out more about Kolos, though.
I hope we learn it. I really hope so.
So you got to learn more about Kolos, and it also does talk about if you can steal, if you can use not steal, if you can use normal people.
Oh, Darkness gets his answer.
Yeah.
That's what I'm reading right now, bro. You better end this shit soon.
It's chapter 38's epigraph. You gotta read a whole chapter before that.
No,
or just go read the epigraph.
Yeah.
Anyways,
literally, just go read the epigraph.
So yeah, again, chapters 37 to 43 next time. Thank you guys all so much for listening, and we'll see you next time.
What was that, 53? Got it.
No,
53.
40.
53.
43. Bye.
53, bye!